Hello everybody, welcome to the United Stands. I'm Mark Goldbridge. Manchester United against Sunderland this Saturday. Lots of changes for Manchester United as well. What are your thoughts? Let's get into it. Look, very disappointed, first and foremost. Let's start with the big one. There is things I'm excited about, I'll be honest. But very disappointed. Look, I'd be a hypocrite if I didn't bring this into play. Very disappointed that we don't have Aidan Heaven starting. Look, I'm not the manager. Manager's entitled to do whatever he wants to do, of course, but I'm a bit perplexed by this because Martinez misses 3 games through suspension, fine, but I'm a firm believer that you win your place back. I think Heaven has been fantastic for us. You know, you go away to places like Stamford Bridge, you play Liverpool, and you win with Aidan Heaven in those difficult circumstances. And then Martinez comes back and you go and sit on the bench. Now, some people would say, well, that's a harsh lesson of where you are in the hierarchy. But I think with 3 games to go, when you've got a young player that's playing well, and to stunt his momentum, I just think it's a bit harsh. So I think Heaven should have started. It's not the end of the world. It's not like Carrick out or anything like that. I think he should have started. And, you know, also, I think Zirkzee starting is great. Now, there are a few weird things about United today. No Casemiro, no Ugarte at all. Both have knocks. So Mason Mount in the midfield, although I think it will probably be Bruno. That midfield is a little bit strange with Mount, Bruno and Mainu, but the positive is it's quite attacking. Mazraoui coming in for Delo looks rotational, I think. I think Delo is on the bench. I'll stand corrected if I'm wrong on that, but I think Delo is on the bench. Yes, he is. So that looks like it's rotational, which is good. Zirkzee probably playing because we've got no Sesko, who is also injured. So look, I think for me, the positives are Mazraoui playing and Zirkzee playing. We don't know whether we're going to buy a backup striker in the summer. So to have Zirkzee play today makes total sense. Now, whether he would have played if Sesko had been injured, I suppose that's a question. But we need to take a look at Zirkzee, and we criminally haven't. Well, no, not criminally. That's not fair. We've only been playing 1 game a week. But we need to find out whether we need to move him on or not. So I think having a look at Zirkzee will be great. And look, I think Ahmad's very, 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 very lucky to start as well. I mean, I don't know quite why Mbeumo's on the bench. I think he's been pushed from pillar to post under Carrick, and it would be nice just to see Mbeumo getting a run on the right wing. But, Ahmad gets a chance against a former club. So there we go. Harry Maguire staying is ruining Yoro and Heaven's development, says Anto. Well, let me know your thoughts on the team. As I say, no Casemiro, no Ugarte. So it's Mainu, Bruno and Mount in the midfield. There's not really much else we could do. We could have put Martinez in the midfield and played Heaven, I suppose. Heaven's on the bench, Martinez comes back. Delo's on the bench, Mazraoui comes in. And Mbeumo's on the bench, Ahmad starts. And Zirkzee starts up front because we've got no Sesko. Sesko, Ugarte, Casemiro not on the bench. So they won't be involved at all. Daniel Thompson, thanks for your super chat. He says, hope you're well, having a good day. Gold Devils with a big win last night and hopefully the Red Devils with a win today. I still think we'll win. I do still think we'll win today. I'll leave the United team up on the screen just so you can look at it. But just to go through the Sunderland team, and I must say I have taken my eye off the ball when it comes to Sunderland. Not massively been keeping an eye on them. I know they had a very good record at one point. They've seemed to have dropped off a little bit, but they still had a very good season. Roofs, Mukiele, Gertruda, Aldarte, Ronaldo, Sadiki, Xhaka, Lefay, Hume, Talbi and Brobby playing for them. The interesting thing is, I will show you this. I think we will win this game, but there is a little bit of a perception that we're both on the beach in the sense that we've got Champions League football. We're going to be okay. Liverpool have just drawn, so they're not even 3 points behind us. They're still 5 points behind us. Sunderland are mid-table. But the interesting thing is, if Sunderland beat us, they actually go above Chelsea. They actually go into joint 8th. More interestingly, if they beat us, they're 2 points off 6th, which is Champions League football. There is still this scenario where Sunderland can get European football if they want it, and a chance they could still get Champions League football. So I don't know what to expect from Sunderland. They might just be, we've had a really good season, we're staying up, we're playing Man United, let's just have a nice time. They might be motivated to try and get European football. So we'll have to wait and see. But I expect us to win. I do expect us to win. I don't think that's an unfair expectation. I do actually quite like the fact that we've had some rotation. I question how deliberate it is. I don't know how deliberate the rotation is, because if Sesko had been fit, would we have seen Zirkzee start? If Agate and Casemiro had been fit, would we have seen the rotation that we've seen? What I'm trying to say is, and I was saying this on That's Football, if we'd had Sesko up front, Ahmad, Cunha, Bruno, Casemiro, Mainu, Delo instead of Mazraoui, I've seen a lot of that team. I think with this team of United today, I haven't actually seen Zirkzee play for Man United as a starter. I can't remember the last time. Won't see Mazraoui get a good start for a long time either. So look, I think there's a couple of players that we get to look at that, we know we've got Champions League football. We know Michael Carrick's going to get the job. So it's an opportunity to look at, even Mason Mount. It's an opportunity to take a look at Mason Mount, and look, I think we've all seen enough of Mason Mount in the sense that we don't see enough of him. But there are some intriguing things to the game today, I think. Eunice says Zirkzee starting over Mbeumo is bizarre. I don't think it is. I think this is a very good decision by Carrick, because there is talk of Man United buying a striker this summer. That will cost money. To do that, you need to sell Zirkzee and buy that striker. That's time and money. If Zirkzee in any way, shape or form is good enough to stay at United, you don't need to spend that money, and you don't need to waste your time buying another striker. So I would like to see Zirkzee given a chance. Let's see what he's all about as the striker. If he plays crap, then, we move him on, don't we? So I think it's good. Richard Keys on BN Sports now stated the Bruno winning of the Player of the Year is a disgrace. Yeah, but Richard Keys is a disgrace. End of conversation. Next. If he's a disgrace, his opinions are a disgrace. Don't listen to people who are a disgrace. Zirkzee starting over Mbeumo is bizarre, says Eunice. Hello, Mark. I'm actually from Sunderland, but supported United since I was 3. Hope we can batter these for the second time this season, says Rob. I think we will win. Keel says he might be doing this to see who goes. Look, if I'm Michael Carrick, I'm doing exactly what I've just said there. I'm getting a look at Zirkzee at the start. Because also, you bring Zirkzee on for Mbeumo with half an hour to go and he scores 2 goals, and everyone says keep Zirkzee. But I'm going, off the bench, scores a couple of goals. I've seen that before. I was about start him. Let's see what he does starting games, If I'm going to trust him, I want to trust him, So I think it's good. Really good. Thanks for your early super chats. You can do that through the $. We'll read those out. Please do share the video as well. You're all very welcome as always on the channel. Lots of exciting stuff coming. I think I might be doing an 8 o'clock show tonight as well. Some transfer stuff to talk about. But obviously it's match day. Player rating show after this. Back on the fan forum as well. Lovely stuff. Just been asked if I want a cup of tea, but I've got one. Let me just say that. So yeah, get your comments in. I'll read those out. There we are. Noel says that midfield might get run through. Well, that's what I mean. I think it makes us quite an attacking team. You've got Cunha, Bruno, Mount, Mainu, Ahmad. There's a lot of attack there. What I would say is I don't know how Sunderland will play. If Sunderland are on the beach, it'll be straightforward. If Sunderland want it, it could be quite interesting because they've got a bit of pace. Brobby can be a pain in the arse. What are you saying to me? Hope we're doing well, feeling positive today. Let's go, says Shadow. Francis, thanks for your super chat. He says, hi Mark, hope you're well. Congratulations on Baller League win. Hope United win today as well. Excited to see Zirkzee and Mazraoui. Yeah, thanks everyone who's getting involved in the Baller League stuff. As I know it's a bit of fun, and I hope you're enjoying it. I don't take it as fun, actually. I do take it very seriously. But thank you everybody who's getting involved with it. It's been, great to take you some of you with us, and hopefully it will keep growing. Yeah, big game on Monday. That midfield might get run through, says Noel. Yeah, as I said, look, intriguingly, I don't really know much about Sunderland. They're probably the team I've watched the least this season with Burnley. And I think that's just, I don't know why. I actually don't know why. Big test for Mainu if he wants to be the starter, says Zen. Would a loss today impact us negatively? No. We're in a good position. Yeah, I think we're in a good position. So, I mean, obviously, if you get absolutely battered, I don't think that's ever any good for anybody, is it? But yeah, I think that I think it's about learning. Look, how are we going to play? Will we have less? Look, the things I'm looking for, as always, are how are we going to play? How much possession are we going to have? Because we tend to have less than 50% possession, which is a regular thing. How many chances are we going to create? These are all criticisms that have been valid, in my opinion, in relation to the team and the coaching staff. So, look, the pressure's off. You've made a few changes. Stylistically, how are we setting up? I think they're valid points, aren't they? So, look, maybe the result actually doesn't matter massively this afternoon. Maybe it's more about... Are you doing all right? Let me see if I can fix it. So Seb's got an iPad of mine, and too many incorrect unlocked attempts. Try again in 2 minutes. Whoa, why have people been trying? What code have you been putting in?
I have finished.
999 911. I'll have to try again in a minute.
Okay.
I'll shout you, pal. All right.
Okay.
I should be able to do it. This could be seeing if Mount can replace Casemiro. No, Benji, no, it can't happen. It can't happen. Yeah, I've got to be honest. I did sort of think that when the team came out. Imagine if Mason Mount has a Kante-style performance against Sunderland as a 6, and everyone starts going, because there will be idiots in the chat. We don't need to buy anybody. We've got our replacement. I mean, Mason Mount is the most unsuitable player to be a midfielder because he gets injured making a cup of tea. Hi, Mark, United stand. I'm absolutely buzzing for the game, says Shane. I haven't been able to watch a United game since the Crystal Palace game, which feels like ages ago. Glad to do it with the community. Where have you been, Shane? Prison? Oh, seriously, Shane, if you have been in prison, I apologise. Unless you did something bad, in which case, let's judge it on a case-by-case basis. But, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think these games where we've got Champions League football in the bag, which is great. We've got an exciting transfer window to come. But we've got 3 Premier League games where they are competitive. Like Brighton will go for us on the last game. Sunderland might go for us today. Forest, I don't know. Maybe they'll go for us because of relegation. Depends how the results go. But try some players out in situations where the jeopardy's not there for us in the league, but you can throw... pre-season's a load of crap, isn't it? Let's be honest. Pre-season's a load of crap. I played well in pre-season. Well done. Great for you. I'm in! Seb! I've cracked the code. Seb! You know when you hear a movement when you shout the name and you think they're coming? There you go. Get a bit. Yeah, so look, I think pre-season's a load of crap, isn't it? Because it's pre-season. Oh, pre-season Perlo, right? But in these games, they are competitive Premier League games. There's points up for grabs. They're proper goals. They're proper assists. They're proper points. So you give someone like Zirkzee a start, and if he plays well, there's credibility to that. You know, if Mazraoui plays well, there's credibility to that. If Mason Mount plays well, there's credibility to that. So I think these next 3 games are exciting in the sense of we have a huge transfer window coming up. We're going to be in the Champions League next year. We need a bigger squad. Can some of these players that maybe we thought we couldn't trust, can they be trusted? Basically, you know? They could be seeing if Mount Sixer says, I've been here for 4 years as a member. You're a legend, mate. Thank you so much for supporting the channel and being a member and getting your badge in. Also, Paul Crampton, thanks for all you do in the whole United Stand team and community. Also, thank you for being a member. You've been a member for nearly 5 years, Paul. Absolute legend. Keep an eye on the memberships. It's going to change a lot in the next few weeks. Some really exciting stuff to come. Very interactive stuff as well. So not just watching, but getting involved. So thanks for being a member, pal. Please do share the video if you're tuning in this afternoon. What would you do if Seb joined City or Liverpool? I'd be very happy for him, Chris. I mean, to make it as a professional footballer in a Premier League club, I mean, I'd love it to be at United, but if he wanted to do it, I'd be very proud. As long as Bruno gets an assist, I'm happy, says Andrew. Yes, he still... did that get resolved from last week? I take it he's still one behind. He didn't get an assist for that last week, did he? I know there was a bit of an argument last week, but I've not heard anything about it since. I think he is 1 behind the record. He's got 3. He's going to break it. He is going to break it, if we're being honest. It's just a case of when. I want Leon and Kone to play, says Kiel. Well, Kone's in Switzerland, not getting any game time for Luzon. And Leon, I don't know where he is. He's gone bowling. Thank you, Dev. He says it didn't count. It was only 19. Thank you, pal. I think we're playing 4-3-3 today, says Aaron. Ibrahim says, what about Edison? We will probably talk about that on the 8 o'clock show because I've had no chance to do anything about it. Oh, here's somebody who makes me jealous. Doggy says, cheers, Mark, from upstate New York. Oh, you know what? I was on the way back last night and I was on Instagram bathing in the Gold Devils victory, and I looked at the one of my Insta stories was New York, and I was just like, oh, there's just I need to visit lots and lots of worldwide cities because I fell in love with New York, and there must be other cities, and I've got an obsession with it. So I need to find other. I think I want to go Miami, Tokyo, Sydney. I want to go South Africa. I want to go India. I want to go Canada. I better start bloody moving, hadn't I? I need Goldbridge on tour. I need to just get myself one of them cameras or a phone and just start doing stuff on tour, really. Get out there. John Walker says, thank you from Australia. Game starts at midnight there on a Saturday. It's not bad. Hi, Mark. Does Bruno break the record today, says James. He could do. Have you noticed, though, I ain't got a problem with this. Have you noticed how Bruno is looking for assists? And I do think, like, he will get them, but I think if he just played his natural game, he'll get them. It's raining in Sunderland. Welcome to the UK, everybody. Welcome to the UK. It's actually sunny where I am. It's probably, take your top off, in London hot, but in Sunderland, it's raining. Welcome to the UK. Right. Number 2. I'm not having a number 2. It's button number 2 to make it go up. Yeah. Look, I'm in a good mood. Gold Devils won last night. Weekend Chinese takeaway tonight. Hopefully do an 8 o'clock show with you as well. Back in Baller League on Monday. If you want to get your tickets, just type Baller League tickets against top of the league. Thin chance of making the top 4 for the playoff final. So yeah, we're good. And I fancy Man United today. I do fancy Man United today. Thank you, Shane. Thank you for your super chats. I think I've caught up on them. Come to Cape Town, says Shepherd. Sushi says we need Share Lacey in these remaining games. Yeah, just in relation to the bench, because I mean, I don't know whether we will be in a position where we're coasting and we can make changes. I mean, I think the interesting thing about Sunderland's midfield is that they've got their captain Xhaka, who is going to be. I wonder if we'll get a red card actually. But on the bench, there is no Lacey. Bienda, Delo, Dorgu, Fletcher, Heaven, Malacia, Mbuemo, Yoro. I tell you what, I'd like to see a little bit more of these Fletcher brothers because they're always on the bench. And, well, they're not always on the bench, but they have been on the bench a lot. And how do I put this? I won't say negative things about the youth. We've seen them, but we haven't seen them, if you know what I mean. I haven't seen what they're about. I don't, Lacey, I know what he's about. Even, I mean, JJ Gabriel hasn't played for the first team yet, but I've seen him and I know what he's about as a player. With the Fletcher brothers, I don't even know what they are. Like, I don't know, you know what I mean? Stylistically, I know what Lacey does. I don't know what the Fletcher players do. I don't know whether they're like a Mount, or a Mainu, or a Casemiro, or an Agate, or a Keane, or a Scholes. I don't know. So I'd like to see them. I'd like to see what they're all about, What's it all about, Jack Fletcher played 90 minutes yesterday, says Con. I mean, they're probably on the bench just because we've had some injuries. I mean, Sesko, Agate, Casemiro, all out, innit? Shane says, however, whenever we have played, I have always listened to the watch-alongs. Thank you, pal. Michael says, Miami's brilliant. I've been there 3 times. I've heard a lot of good things about Miami, actually. What's your Chinese order, Mark, says Robert. Well, if people want to give me any suggestions, I will write them down. But I normally go for something sweet and sour, like chicken. And then I'm salivating here. You've got to have the prawn crackers. Normally go for something with vegetables in it. They all love pancake duck things. Sometimes go for something with prawns as well. Right, players are coming out apparently. Let's have a good time in the chat today. Let's try and be, constructive. There's things to assess, and I want to hear that. Is Matteo Moretto a valid outlet around the Edison news, says Mo? He does do stuff for Fabrizio, but I don't know how. I don't know, like, if Fabrizio's like tier 1, I don't know what Moretto is. I don't know whether his connection to Romano puts him like tier 2, or whether. I don't know his volume of work, I've not listened to his album, let's put it that way. I know his connections. To me, I think it's going to be one of those stories that, look, we haven't really had a new sort of breakthrough journalist for quite a while, have we? So, shit, it's going to fall. Satay chicken, says Vision. There we go. Okay. Need to get my timer. Click that one. Right. Please do share the video. We've got nearly 20,000 watching. Thank you very much. And also subscribe. Jim Bob says, with Liverpool drawing, this is a free hit. Show us some more expansive football, Carrick. Love your work, from Melbourne. Yeah, I agree. I agree, Jim. I think we're probably looking to learn something today, aren't we? I think that's what we're looking for, to learn something about players. Look, if it was about results before, what I'm trying to say is there any reason to go to Sunderland and play counter-attacking football with less than 50% possession? And I think that's sort of, what I'm sort of talking about, really. Yeah. Okay. I think I've had a problem with my stream. Just let me know. It does this sometimes. Let me have a look. Joe resolves it. There we go. Timer. There we are. Yeah, just refresh. It just sometimes drops in and out. I have to get the internet people back, I think. Thank you very much. I got Bruno getting 2 assists, says Jimmy. Come on, United. Let's play some good football. Love from Brisbane, says United Down Under. Constantine says, I'm going the other way for this. One of these players are done, says Constantine. Unruly says, hi Mark, if you had one pick by the Glazers, would you take Barcola, Elise, or Vinicius Jr.? Elise, Unruly, although he was very bad. Mo says, he dropped the news on Edison if it's worth a look. Yeah, this is what I mean. I think there needs to be a little bit of work around the source really on that. Sydney is rubbish. Go to the Gold Coast, says Andrew. And hi Mark, I'm glad I found the United stand 6 months ago, says Levi Sports. Welcome to the club and thank you very much for being a member. Go to Buenos Aires. Also order honey garlic chicken, says Tora. Thank you very much. And Lacey was good yesterday. Says Riley. Would hate to see the Labour price if Brighton gets Champions League. Price is bad enough as it is, says Braden. Grunt says, is Terry doing any shows this summer? Enjoyed last year. I need to catch up with Terry. And Jack Fletcher played 90 minutes yesterday. Thank you very much. Sorry, I'm having a little bit of a problem here. And I don't really know why. If you want to watch Leipzig versus St. Pauli live match footage, we do have it for you live on That's Football at the moment if you're on the UK and Ireland. We just got the opportunity to have an extra game. So, yeah, tune in. Apparently, we've had a goal already. Brighton have got a great chance of Champions League football. They're 1-0 up already against Wolves at home, and it's a goal for Hinchelwood. So that instantly, you'll see it as it goes around on the screen, that instantly puts Brighton in this intriguing race for sixth. So Bournemouth are playing Fulham at the moment at Fulham, and it's a draw at the moment, but we've only been playing a couple of minutes. Also kicking off at 3 o'clock. But Brighton, if they win, in 6th place, which, look, I know we can observe it from a position of power, but who would you rather get into the Champions League? Because it's not going to be Chelsea. I think Bournemouth, if Iraola was staying, I'd say Bournemouth, but because he's going, it seems weird to put a team in the Champions League and then... So I think Brighton would probably be the one. The big question on everybody's lips is Baleba starting, which I think he is. Let me have a look. Yeah, Baleba and Gross are in the midfield. And he got an assist. No, he didn't. He didn't really. He didn't get an assist. All Sunderland at the moment. Seems it wasn't true Cunha would be rested, says Forms. Jack T, welcome to Members Club. Thank you very much for that. Hyen says, what's up everyone? Glad we're doing well. We are definitely winning the league next season. Carrick is the man for the job. Should I block him? Should I block him for that? You know, it does feel like it's blockable. Definitely. Too much stupidity there. Yeah, I mean, I think that Cunha thing was always going to be a load of crap, really. About, you know, being dropped, you know, being rested. I actually did think about Casemiro, though. I mean, out of nowhere, Casemiro's out right before the World Cup. I thought, are we actually resting Casemiro for Ancelotti? Because... But then again, you've got... Mason Mount's definitely playing in the midfield, by the way. I'll tell you what, that's going to be interesting. Mason Mount in the midfield is going to be very, very interesting. Thank you for joining the Members Club, Jack. Really appreciate you. I sense a draw, says Egg and Bacon Sandwich. Well, Sunderland have started off with a lot of the ball and are certainly sorry, I'm trying to figure out what's going on with the chat here. They've got something to play for, Sunderland, though. You know, you look at that league table, they can go into the top half if they win. Brighton are 2-0 up, apparently. They are 2-0 up. What a start by Brighton. 6 minutes gone, 2-0 up against Wolves. They're boosting their goal difference. Sunderland did have a shot, by the way. Le Mans wasn't too certain about it. It was half a decent chance for Sunderland. Lewis Dunk has made it 2-0. So Brighton are heading towards 3 points there. Good start by Sunderland. They've got the crowd up. Jack Berry, welcome to Members Club. Thank you very much for joining, getting your badge in. Still can't believe that Mason Mount's got the number 7 shirt on, says Bacardi. Do you think Heaven and Yoro are the future duo of United centre-back positions, or will we be forever signing new centre-backs every odd transfer window, says Rory? I mean, as I said, I'm disappointed that... Heaven's not actually starting today. I think he's a very good player for us, and I think that he Sunderland have had a great chance again. I'm just reading the chats. Le Mans has made a very good save from one-on-one. Sunderland absolutely running rampant a little bit here, but I don't know who it was, but it was one-on-one, and Sunderland. Le Mans makes the save. Cut right through the midfield. Harry Maguire miles out of position. Miles out of position. Just that simple ball through the defence. Runner from the midfield. Maguire looking like he's running through concrete. Ball watching midfield. Ball watching defence. I just don't think Maguire's going to work in a back four. I don't. I really don't. He'd probably score a corner today, but... Sunderland should be winning, really. Mount just let him go as well, says St. Jimmy. Very lucky to have a goalkeeper like this. Very lucky. I'd prefer Heaven at left centre-back because he's been good. You don't drop a youngster after he has performed well. What do you think, Mark? I'm disappointed about Aidan Heaven not starting. I said that before, but you've got to get on with it, haven't you? It's a big call by Carrick, and yeah. Ronnie Gaming, thank you very much for being a member for 40 months. But look, Rory, going back to your comment, I really do hope that the likes of Yoro and Heaven end up being really good players for us. Java says Mount's already been burned 2 times. He's not a centre midfielder. But yeah, but you can say what you like about Mason Mount, and people do. He isn't a midfielder, no. He literally isn't a midfielder. United actually having a bit of the ball here. Jack says, Mark, 5x5 players based on their intelligence. Who would you have? Mark, 5x5 players. Love all the stuff you and the community have done. Often when Men United lose, you still make my day better than a Saturday dinner, says Jack. I don't know what 5x5 players mean. Locke says, just tuned in. Has Casemiro picked up a knock? Also, happy 37 months. Well, happy 37 months to you, hopefully, Locke. Yeah, he's got a bit of a knock, and so has Agate. Scott Hargreaves, thanks for being a member for 67 months. Sorry, the live chat just keeps dropping out here. United have got a free kick anyway. Far side. Terrible start, says Molly. But yeah, but it'd be just typical of United to have a terrible start and then Bruno get an assist onto Harry Maguire's head. We have no midfield. Mainu defensively has problems, says Orlando. 3 signings in that area are most important. And Ahmad with a shot from the edge of the box wasn't that far away, actually. So hopefully that will steady United's nerves a little bit. I think today is a glimpse of the problems that Man United's midfield have, and I hope Jason Wilcox is watching. The only player really missing is Casemiro, and you've got a midfield of Bruno, Mainu, and Mount. You need to buy 3. You need to buy 3 players. 3 midfielders need to be bought at Manchester United because this is what we're like without Casemiro. Glitzy says we need a striker too. Well, we've got Sesko. Let's see how Zirkzee gets on today. Could have played Heaven at the back and Martinez in midfield. Good to see Zirkzee get some game time though, says Ashish. I agree. Thank you very much for your super chat, pal. Juan, thank you for your super chat. Brighton up into 6th because they're beating Wolves at the moment. Chelsea drew against Liverpool 1-1 at Anfield. Le Mans brave again. Collects the ball. I think I can see Brobby causing them problems at the back. He's quick, and Martinez isn't quick, and that was poor marking by Martinez again. And Maguire's not quick. So if Sunderland can feed it into Brobby, I think he's quicker than both of our centre backs, and that might be a glimpse into why I think you do need to play a Heaven. Mark, that's football showing live. That's football is live because it's got the Leipzig against Cologne game on. So if you want to watch live footage of Bundesliga, you can, and you're in the UK and Ireland, you can watch. You can double screen it and have Leipzig. Sorry, it's not Leipzig. It's Leipzig against St. Pauli. Heaven's on the bench. Sesko is injured, and Casemiro and Ugarte are injured. Jack says, apologies, my English is bad. No problem. Let me have a look what you said. I meant 5 versus 5. Okay, go back. Mark, 5 versus 5 players based on their intelligence. Who would you have? What Man United players I'd play in a five-a-side game? Bruno. Cunha. Out of all our defenders, I actually think Delo would suit 5-a-side better because he's actually quite mobile. Obviously, got to put Le Mans in goal, so I need one more. Mainu. I think he'd be good at that as well. Miles says, we really need to sell Mount, in my opinion, but nobody's going to take him with his injury record and wages. We're stuck with him forever. Thank you, Miles. My fiance is due a little one early in December. The best Christmas gift in the world, says Jay. Congratulations. And that's great news. Midri says 3 midfielders are crucial and Mount needs to be sold, and I'm going for a draw. I think that I was just wanted to have a quick look at the stats on the screen, actually, just to see how this first sort of 10 minutes has gone. Sorry, we didn't have the stats on the screen, which is my fault. So, yeah, 50% possession, 50-50 so far. I don't think Sunderland are necessarily a high percentage side. You've probably talked about it before, but I'm fairly new to the United stand. Why don't we try Martinez in the midfield to stank? I just don't. I think it's more of a fan theory, and I think a lot of people talk about putting Martinez in the midfield, but I definitely think it's more of a fan theory on that. And for whatever reason, I don't think Ten Hag, Amorim, or Carrick really agree. Sunderland attacking again. Zirkzee looks lost, says Expert Gamer. They're up for it, Sunderland. You know, I did think, you know, mid-table team, could they be on the beach? But they do still have a chance of Champions League football, maybe, but certainly European football, but they would have to win. So they're certainly having a pop at it at the moment. I feel sorry for Man Utd today because we centre-backs with no pace and midfield won't help him in defence. He's on his own, says General Kylian Mbappe. Well, it's a bit of a glimpse, isn't it? I mean, obviously we've got Bruno out there, we've got Maguire out there, but it is a bit of a glimpse as to what United is like without Casemiro. Because I think that, you know, obviously Casemiro's legs have gone, but his leadership and control in that midfield, I think, is very important. Ahmad showing us why he's only got like 4 goals and assists, says Pure Turnips. Thank you so much. Mason Mount foul there. You've probably I've done that one from Stank. We're shit without Casemiro, says Wan. Thankfully can't see any ponytails for Sunderland, says Everybody Matters. This is Casemiro red card conditions, says E2. Thank you very much. And there we go. Seabead says, Sunderland winning every second ball at the moment. Today will show where we really are, getting pulled apart by an average side. Maguire and Shaw too slow. Ahmad not done anything either, says Dave. I forgot about Luke Shaw. Actually, I forgot. I don't think we've mentioned Luke Shaw at all. I completely forgot about Luke Shaw. Obviously, Luke Shaw is playing. Tad says the midfield's not balanced, too easy to get through. Light switch FC, says Samuel. Well, I think United will win this game, but certainly they need to step up a little bit. It's been a bit of a let's wait for a cross and a Bruno assist type of game, hasn't it? We're not up for it. Light switch FC, says Snoopy 10. Yeah, if you want to double up with the watch-along, we do actually have live match footage on That's Football of Leipzig against St. Pauli. So it's a relegation St. Pauli against top 4 Leipzig. It's there. If you're in the UK and Ireland, you can actually watch a live match. Would you keep Casemiro for another year, says Grant? No. No. I think you miss Casemiro, and you can see that we've missed him here, but it's he needs to be replaced. Just realised with a team on the beach, a few players out, nothing to play for, so the performance is expected. It is what it is. It's an experiment, says Darren Green. Could we try Mazraoui in midfield with the absence of Casemiro? Ten Hag spoke about how he could do a job in there. Yeah, and playing Mason Mount in there is a little bit strange, if I'm being honest. Oddie says Luke Shaw's shit. Still trying to get in the World Cup team, isn't he? You know what? I'm going to say this. I've been thinking it for a few weeks. I don't think I've said it on the stream. I actually think he's going to end up going to the World Cup. I don't know. You know how life works out sometimes. I just think he stayed fit all season. It's almost the hang about long enough and you will get picked. He shouldn't go to the World Cup. There's loads of left backs better than him. But I do just have this funny feeling that he might go to the World Cup. Woody says Zirkzee's so slow. Aldo says, get the lot who went to watch Akon the other day. Because we're getting locked up here. No urgency, says Aldo. And Christian says, I'm so tired of looking at Shaw and Delo. We're not looking at Delo, to be fair. My God, our midfield struggles. There was a VAR check on a handball, apparently. It won't be given because it came off the body of Ahmad. So it won't be given because we're not in Europe. So it flicked off the body and caught Ahmad on the arm. But it won't be a penalty. And the ref says, play on. Sorry, I'm just catching up on some comments here. Congratulations on the deal, Mark. Richly deserved. Also, who's your pick for manager? I really don't think Louis will leave PSG. I like Nagelsmann. I like Emery. I like Iriola. I think they're all not going to get the job, but I would give it them over Carrick. Sunderland will score and then we'll start playing. Seen it all before. Bad starts becoming a theme. Casemiro not playing shouldn't result in this, says Bulbous. About absolutely zero intensity with Carrick ball, says Craig. What channel says... the truth is, if we're going to go with Carrick, we have to adapt to 20% ball possession and counter-attacks against all teams, says Arshan. Thank you very much, Arshan. And... oh, God. It's constantly slowing me down here. Is there not an academy midfielder good enough to start over Mount? This would have been a perfect game to try and see if they're good enough, says General. It's sort of the Ollie approach, isn't it? Ollie was a bit like this. You know, you go with you take someone off the bench and you put them out of position rather than putting a young player in. Maybe doesn't think anybody's ready. Maybe I'm reactionary, but I feel if we get any good offer for Ahmad, we should consider it, says Jay. I don't think we get rid of Ahmad. I wouldn't get rid of Ahmad. I wouldn't get rid of Ahmad. In fact, shall I run a poll on that? I don't need to go under the desk to do it. Would you sell Ahmad? Let's run a poll. Has Tchouameni knocked Casemiro out, says Baggy. And Andre Onana says, after today's match, there's only 2 more games left until I'm back in the net for this wonderful club. Are you excited for my return? Oh, yeah. We all want Onana back, don't we? I'd have liked to see Obi play, says Exposed Exile. Lay says, I can't stand Carrick ball. Thank you, everybody who's tuning in, by the way. Got nearly 30,000 watching. Click and subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. Big summer ahead. The transfer stuff is starting to hot up. So we're live every night at 8 o'clock, every morning at 10 o'clock. Get involved with the United Stand. You're very, very welcome. Finch says, who do you think is going to win? I think it's the sort of game that United will win. I mean, I don't think Sunderland score many goals. I think I remember saying that in the preview. Sunderland don't score many goals. So they've scored 37 goals this season, which is lower than everybody in the league, apart from Burnley and Wolves and Crystal Palace. So Sunderland don't score goals. And they've started the game off very, very well, but they don't put the ball in the back of the net. And we tend to average 2 goals a game. I think Mason Mount's going to get booked soon. He's had 2 fouls. The last thing we want to do is use Mason Mount in the midfield and then he's on a yellow card. So he needs to be very careful here. Hey up, Mark from the Royal Navy. What drink you having with your Chinese, says Aston. Ooh, what do I have a drink with this? I'll tell you what, I don't mind a red wine with a Chinese, but I might have a lager tonight. I haven't had a drink for 2 weeks. Not deliberately, but it's just been a couple of weeks. At what price would you sell Ahmad? Well, 62% of you are with me. You wouldn't sell Ahmad. If we were selling Ahmad, I don't know. He's a hard player. 50? Bouncing around the box. Man United clear it away. Huey says we're going to lose this game. Passant says, I never understood Mount signing. Him and Bruno would never work in the same lineup. And Max says United playing horrendous football. Very strange question from United Vienna, but the Vienna thing might be a clue. Who do you miss in the Premier League? For me, it's Arnautovic. I don't know whether I miss any players. I think people have their time and that's it, isn't it? Love what you do, Mark. The channel and the community has meant so much to me. But, well, there was a but. But by the way, Romano just leaked Charles Barkley is in the running against Carrick. Says Stain. Okay. This is screaming out why Carrick shouldn't get the job full time. It's been an awful 25 minutes, says Anthony. Canada says, in your negotiations with Gary, did you talk about the club and impart any good ideas to him on how it's being run? You have to wait and see, won't you? Hopefully these things will be happening soon. Our midfield are acting like the French in WW2. Surrender at the first opportunity. Oh, Chris, come on. It was a long time ago. I can see us getting a scrappy win here. Sunderland are definitely up for it more than us and have been more aggressive, but... Daniel Arsenal Forever says, hi Mark, what player would you buy from Arsenal? Also hope you're having a good day. I think where we're at the moment, Declan Rice would be the player I would buy. Yeah. Mount's getting a bit of stick in the chat. A win today would be a miracle, says G. I tell you what then, we'll come back to your miracle because I think there's going to be a miracle. I think we'll win this game because, not because we're better, but because we'll score. I'd keep Carrick, but we need a strong winger. Liao, top DCM, a better wing back than Delo, and get shot of Mount as well. Agate is absolutely shite, says Shane. And Mark, are we going to see you on overlap episodes as well, says Arshan? Well, I'm not, mate, I'm not about to announce our future plans on a watch-along on a Saturday afternoon. You have to just wait and see. Danny says, I wouldn't have Rice in my team. We've currently got nearly 1,000 people watching the Leipzig St. Pauli stream, which is very good. Well done. They won't know because I'm on a different stream. Corner for United. And another corner. Four weeks on Thursday, the World Cup starts. If you're interested in that, I just think about Harry Maguire. Corner's cleared. I actually think this warrants being hooked at half-time for Mount, says Nicholas. Hooked for who? I mean, you could put Mason Mount. Sorry, you could put Martinez. Zirkzee just had a header over the bar. Told you we'll win this game. Everyone's having a bloody moan, but there's enough that what we've got is what I've said to you loads of times this season. We actually haven't played well all season. We've not played well under Carrick all season. But what we've got is you've got a Bruno or an Ahmad or a Cunha or a Casemiro, and Sunderland don't have a Bruno or an Ahmad or a Casemiro. So at some point, one of those people will get us the goal and win us the game. When Ahmad is not performing, we should loan him or sell him on like Garnacho, says Sarvesh, and not keep giving him a chance like Lingard and pre-season Pirlo. Marco says, all but Cunha is Ten Hag's squad. Jack says, what's Ahmad done to deserve a start over Lacey? Thank you very much. Imagine these jokers against the likes of PSG, says Rossick. Well, it will be these jokers, as you call them, against PSG, because the only player that's really missing, apart from Sesko, is Casemiro, who won't be here. So our signings need to be very good this summer, don't they? In the other games, it is still 2-0 to Brighton against Wolves, and it's 0-0 between Fulham and Bournemouth. That's a big game, that is. If Bournemouth get a win there, they could be really looking at Champions League 6th spot. Hi, Mark. I've been following for many years, and I love the content. For the Casemiro debate, I would keep him as a squad player on 120k max. What are your thoughts? Yeah, ASJ, I think that what people are not realising is that what you've just described is not something Casemiro is going to sign. This is a guy that's on 300k a week, who is a free agent and will get that money easily in the summer. So why is he going to take such a massive pay cut? He's just not going to do it. Zirkzee needs to stop standing still like a statue. Look, I mean, look, in fairness to Zirkzee, look, maybe that's who he is as a player, but this is why I wanted to see him, because is he good enough for us to use as the backup striker next season, or do we need to move him on? I mean, there is the element of he hasn't played a lot of football. It's raining as well, says Troll, which is a good point. No one's going to pay Casemiro 300k a week. Do you want to take a bet on that? What do you think he's going to earn at Inter Miami or wherever he goes as a free agent? He will earn 300 grand a week. Because he'll get a massive signing on fee, won't he? So whatever the signing on fee is plus his wage, he'll earn more than we'll offer him anyway. If we were offering Casemiro another year on 300k a week, he would stay, I reckon. Isaac says, the Ahmad hate is so reactionary, our best player last year. Thank you very much, Isaac. And love how everyone's behind Ahmad, true supporters. Yeah, 60% of you wouldn't sell Ahmad and 40% of you would. Look, you know what? I'm going to close the poll anyway. I think with Ahmad, I've always noticed it, that there is this divide around Ahmad. I don't see it. I like the player. I don't see any connection with Garnacho at all. I think he's a talented player. He's had a tough season, and he started off as a right wing back. The manager got sacked halfway through the season. He's now playing as a winger again, and it's not been a very good season for him. But I still think he's a good player, and I don't think we should give up on him just because of a difficult season. I still think, if he had a season like this season next season, I think then you start having a conversation. But I think there's mitigating circumstances. What's your guess on the amount of players coming in this season? Well, you can guess all you like, but I think we all know. Another chance for Sunderland, just deflected for a corner. They really should be in front. If they could finish, we'd be in trouble. That's my assessment of this first half an hour. If Sunderland could finish, we'd be in trouble. They have had probably 2 or 3 really good chances. And, a couple of good blocks and a Lamont save has kept us from going behind here. Mason Mount, sell or stay, says Rub. He's just an irritant, isn't he? Because he's never fit and he wears the number 7 shirt. I mean, I'm sure he's a nice guy and I actually think he's a good footballer, but I don't know what he actually offers the team because he will be injured at some point. I mean, we've only got 2 weeks left of the season. Do you think he'll make it to the end of the season fit? Sean says, this is woeful, I could cry. Thank you, Sean. Oh, poll. Somebody said they mean a poll. Would you sell Mason Mount? Please do subscribe to the channel, by the way. Bottom right-hand corner. Get involved. I would like to try Zirkzee and Sesko together, says Slazy. I think that'd be a bloody nightmare. That'd be a bloody nightmare. Still 2-0 to Wolves, still 0-0 with Fulham and Bournemouth. Laura says some of the players aren't good enough and so should be moved on. It's cheaper to keep Casemiro on 300 grand a week than buy Tonali, says Andy. United are really poor here. Look at that possession as well, going up for Sunderland. 54% possession now. United down at 46%, which is pretty much where we are. I'm glad this team is playing today. This shows we've got no squad for the Champions League, says Sean. And how can you say you want Carrick, Mark? This is shit, says Our Growth Products. I think I'll leave that one to the chat. Some people are saying get Ahmad off. So what have we got? Still 9 minutes to go to half time. Let me get the stats back up on the screen. Sunderland have had 9 shots, 3 on target. United have had 2 shots, 0 on target. 45% possession to 45.7 to 54.3 in Sunderland's favour. Obviously, they've still got a chance of European football, so I think they are putting a shift in here. But it just feels like, you know what? It feels like Sunderland could play till Christmas and not score. And United will just find that moment. And welcome to Carrick ball. I think that's something some of us have been saying for a long time. There's nothing wrong with winning like that, but we're just a hard watch, aren't we? We're a hard watch because we never have the bloody ball. We spend so much time defending, and then it's a bit like it's a bit like what I did with Gold Devils last night. You never have the ball. You just compact and you wait for the opportunity. Sell Shaw and Delo by Grimaldo and Lema from Bundesliga, says Michael. I don't think we'll get Lema out of Bayern, but he's a very good player. The man who should be sold is that buffoon Wilcox, bloody brown-nosing Pratt, says Ian. So wet out there. We have had 2 breakaways ended by players slipping over, not playing well enough to account for these slips on top of the bad passing, says Dorian. Do you think if I get an offer for Ahmad, should sell? If you get an offer for Ahmad Ramsey, didn't know you controlled him. Carrick showing us what he wants to do next season, says Marlowe. And Dorian says, it's so wet out there. We've had 2 breakaways ended by players slipping over, not playing well enough to account for these slips on top of the bad passing. Chung is falling asleep. Wake up! I feel like I need to do that every couple of minutes. Wake up! Wake up! I'd take off Mount, bring on Heaven, and put Martinez in the midfield as captain. It's not a bad idea. I think the entire fan base would do that. Keep, loan or sell Gyökeres, João Pedro, Ekitike. Well, Daniel, come on, that terrifies me. We're doing keep, bench, sell on a United watch-along. This is something that happens on That's Football when it's a dull game. I don't think we've ever had it on a United Stand 1. Keep, loan or sell Gyökeres, João Pedro, Ekitike. I would sell Ekitike. I would keep Gyökeres, and I would loan Pedro. That's the order in which I like them, yeah. I feel people forget a winger's role is made easier or harder by their fullbacks. And Mbeumo and Ahmad haven't been good from the moment they stopped playing together down the right, says Pengers. And Mario Franco says, this Zirkzee performance makes you appreciate Sesko. Our growth products, I'd argue Amarin Ball was more entertaining. The hatred for 3 centre-backs was more entertaining than this. Yeah, but you know what? Like, Vinny! You know what? In defence of Carrick, which some people might say, what? The results are what matters. Apparently Bournemouth have had a red card. They have. That race for 6th place may be shifting towards Brighton. Christie's been sent off on the 39th minute. Down to 10 men, away to Fulham. If you're Sunderland, Fulham, Everton, look, there's a chance to move in on that 6th place. If you can win this weekend, it's getting very exciting in that 6th place. I'm doing a bit of That's Football stuff there, but, you know, I am very intrigued by the top 6. Carrick complaining to Holland, we have too much possession. If we make him manager after this showing, we're just going back to Oli, says General Kylian Mbappe. This must be the first time we've played in the rain, says United Down Under. The funny thing is, I don't think Sunderland will score because I don't think they've got the quality. Thoughts on Thomas Tuchel starting Harry Maguire for England, says Dinan. In a back 4, I think it's a mistake. I think Maguire's still a decent player in a back 3, but as we've seen here, I think it's a mistake. Playing on the back foot with sideways and back passes, been saying that we would play the same without a manager. We need a world-class manager, says Ashish. Thank you very much for your super chats. Just catching up on them. It's Prince says, I've got an off-topic question. Would you give to someone who starts out on YouTube, how do I package my videos better? I think my only advice to anybody is that don't act. Just be yourself. I think that's all. That's the most important thing. A lot of people copy others. Jack says it's been raining. If you know, you know. And Marlowe says the only thing consistent is our low passing accuracy, which I haven't actually seen. What is the passing accuracy? Now is Carrick's chance to have a solid half-time chat. They're on the ropes. Time to fire them up. I hope there's towels in the dressing room, says JR. We've got a corner. I mean, look, as I said, I think as crap as it's been, I can just see us scrapping a win. And at some point, if this performance doesn't improve and we win, at some point fans have got to say, are we just happy playing shit, winning, you know? And I think a lot of fans are. They don't care how we play. Sarvish says, would Sir Alex Ferguson loan or sell Ahmad after this season or keep playing him every game? I don't think it's relevant in relation to Sir Alex. I mean, Sir Alex wouldn't have most of these players playing. Alex says, on the bright side, Le Mans has been good. Well, he saved a one-on-one. Zirkzee is in the graveyard shift, says Rahul. Thank you, pal. Cal says they're both terrible, Zirkzee and Ahmad. With Ten Hag, we overperformed. With Amrin, we underperformed. With Carrick, we overperformed again. Seems all about the football we play, says Lemarv. Jack says, this performance is boring. I'm bringing back chocolate bars you shove up your arse. And Real Life says, hold on a minute, Zirkzee wins another corner. We've had a lot of corners. Getting destroyed in the midfield without Casemiro, says Real Life. Does it make me a bad guy that I want to lose all remaining games now that we've secured Champions League football just to prove to the board that Carrick ain't the guy, says Irish Ghost. And Sean says, I'm not specifically blaming Carrick, but someone in that side is trying to sabotage Bruno getting the assistant record. Glenios out, Wilcox out, says Sean. The way I see it, Carrick came in and players responded. Now they have Champions League football, they can't be bothered. We've got a load. We've got a corner. We haven't got Casemiro, but if we can get it on Maguire's head, and nothing's going to come of that. It's going to be sad, so sad in 2 games' time when we see Luke Shaw play for the last time before we sell in 28-29. Injuries and non-World Cup year, says Eugene. And Ashish says, playing on the back foot with sideways and back passes, been saying that we would play the same without a manager. I've done that one, haven't I? Thank you very much. It's nearly half time. In a way, it has. In a way, it's flown by, hasn't it? But mainly because of your conversation, not because of riveting United. It's not been. I'm a bit low again, aren't I? Cam says it's a hard watch and not in a good way. Oh yeah, okay. Well, let me just get these stats up on the screen because I like to look at them and it's relevant. Possession is nearly at 48%, but we've had no shots on target. Half time, 0-0. Give us your thoughts. I think if it wasn't for the goalkeeper, we would be winning the game comfortably. Sorry, we'd be losing the game comfortably. I think if Sunderland could finish, we'd be losing that game. Fortunately, they're one of the lowest goal-scoring teams in the league, and whilst they're good at home, I think United have been shit, really shit. And yes, we've qualified for the Champions League, but is that not a concern to the board? I actually, on a positive note, think we'll win the game because I don't think Sunderland are good at scoring goals. And at some point, I never think United are going to get a 0-0. So I wouldn't be surprised if we scored from a corner or a moment from Cunha or Bruno. But, you know, I've said this so many times. Like, if you're a fan of just following results, you're going to be very, very happy. But it can't be sustainable. It cannot be sustainable to keep doing this. Less than 50% possession again. No shots on target. Low shots. Since Carrick's come to Manchester United, our average possession has dropped and our average shots per game has dropped. We are very reliant on moments, whether it be Casemiro, Harry Maguire, Bruno Fernandes, Cunha. We're so Sesko. We're reliant on moments. It's really hard to watch Man United play football in the last few months. It is Southgate and Holland, but it's Holland and Carrick. I'd rather watch Holland and Barrett. It's crap. It is crap. But look, that's my opinion. I'm not going to change it. I have my concerns. I've said that before. If I was Jason Wilcox, though, is this not like a reason to just take a step back and go, thank you very much. What's the best manager we can get? Because, as I said in the week, by all means, give him the job. But when it goes wrong, if it goes wrong, don't go crying, well, everyone wanted me to do it, because not everyone wants you to do it. Some people do want you to do it. Some people don't. The warning signs are there. We've been playing shit football since Arsenal. We have. We've been winning a lot of games, but we've been playing shit football since Arsenal. This is not a surprise. And it's not because we don't have Sesko. A little bit of it's because we haven't got Casemiro. But we'd still be playing like this. We still wouldn't have 50% possession. This is just the way we play football now. And you either like it or you don't like it. I think we'll win this game. But I think I'll be saying the same thing at full time. We've won a game of football again, but at what price? You know, it's just not good. You know, Zirkzee, I would give an excuse of maybe being a bit rusty. Ahmad's again, just I don't know how many more times are we going to start him over Mbeumo, who I think is the player we need to be giving the game time to. Cunha on the left wing, not in the game, so you're just waiting for a moment from him. Mason Mount in the midfield is almost laughable. I mean, he is trying, but he is not a midfielder, and I suppose you put that down to the fact that we haven't got any midfielders. Mainoo's getting overrun. He's got no one next to him that's allowing him to express himself. Bruno's living on scraps. I mean, Maguire in a back four with somebody who's quicker than him is problematic. Martinez looks a bit rusty. Luke Shaw's Luke Shaw. You know, the only person that's come out of that half with any decent performance is the goalkeeper, and it's a very good save when they're one-on-one, to be fair. So look, 0-0 at the moment. Look, if you're chasing results, we'll probably win the game. But again, I think the performance is just not great. And I think it's a huge risk. We're taking a huge risk by going, well, look, we've had good results. Let's see what happens next season. It's a lot of money that needs to be invested in that squad. And I think as well, the fact that we're playing Mainoo, Bruno and Mount as a midfield three because Casemiro's injured shows you why we need to buy 3 players. Because that is not a very good midfield, and that's only because Casemiro are down to. It's only because Casemiro is not there as well. Amazingly, I've just been told that Fulham have had a man sent off as well. Christie got sent off for Bournemouth for tripping in the 41st minute, and then Anderson has been sent off for the same thing. So it's 10 against 10 in Fulham Bournemouth, which is a rarity. They've got 45 minutes of 10 against 10. Let me get in some of your comments. Would you make any changes at half time? Well, I do actually agree with you. I'm not sure that Martinez is the long-term solution for the midfield, but we played him there against Villa under Amrim, and we should have won the game. He played well. So I would move Mount. I would put Martinez into the midfield, and I would put Heaven on at the back, because then you solve 2 problems then. Martinez is a better midfielder than Mount, and Heaven is quick. So you solve the issue of Brobby getting in behind the defence, and you give the midfield more stability. So I think, you know, that's an obvious one at half-time. I don't think he will do it. Who to blame 31 says we needed That's Football hotometer for all these midfielders available. Thank you very much. Jar says if we can't dominate if we can't dominate a team of this nature, what we're going to do in the Champions League? Well, we're going to play like this. We need $500,000 investing on that squad if we want to compete next season, says Mish. Lamont has been the best player so far. Refresh. Sorry, let me get this sorted. Sorry, we just had a couple of problems there. I've pinned it in the chat. Refresh the stream if it goes down or there are any audio issues. Away games, we need to be more consistent, says Azam. And Sarvesh says, why are people accusing us of Ahmad hate when he's not performing? Nobody cared about Ronaldo when he was scoring goals in a crap team. I think sometimes people, when they have an agenda for a player, a positive agenda, if you don't like the player, you're a hater. Both as bad as each other in my mind. Nitro says, expect many more of this crap football next season. It will definitely catch up. Very lethargic and laboured, very basic and unwatchable football. Remember, we haven't played for a week as well. It's not like we played midweek. We haven't played for a week. Mount is trying to play like Casemiro. It's not going well, says Aiden. Lamens has been poor, been the best player for United. Done that one, done that one, done that one, done that one, done that one. We look so lost against the smaller clubs, but it's Carrick in, right? Going to be a heart patient by Christmas if he stays on, says Kiru. And Tong says, when Amrin played bad football, it's because he needed a midfielder. But when Carrick plays bad football but gets good results in his team, it's tactics to blame. Oh, here we go. I'm bored of this. Amrin compared with Carrick. What's that got to do with anything? Amrin got sacked because he fell out with Wilcox, not bad results. We're talking about whether we'd give Michael Carrick the job. Why are you going backwards to compare him to a manager that's been sacked? It's like saying, there's a pile of shit on the floor. I'm not going to eat that. But here's a pile of shit that's a bit fresh. Shall I eat that? How's about, let's go to McDonald's and have a burger? I don't know why you compare. Why does it have to be Amrim or Carrick? It's the weirdest thing that people do, Carrick inners do, to justify going for Carrick. Why do I have to compare him to Amrim? Why can't I compare to Iriola or Nagelsmann or Emery? Because that's what's available. We don't play worse than most matches under Carrick. Only difference is Casemiro not papering the cracks, says Marlowe. Gaz says we should have stuck with Heaven. Martinez has been poor. He's been a bit rusty. He has been a bit rusty. Yeah. This style of play is not sustainable, says Okafor. Abysmal football, and we don't have the players to that can even play average. I'm so irritated, manager or not, the players just aren't it. And Toby Goddard says, Tonali and Wharton as signings, thoughts, Mark? Well, I mean, I'd take two midfielders. Chiri says, would you interview Xabi Alonso and Fabregas? They're not people I would consider, and maybe that's because I'm a little bit old school, but, you know, Xabi Alonso, Liverpool player, Fabregas, Arsenal player, that would probably be my reason, if I'm being completely honest. Le Mans and Heaven were the cheapest signings and have been both class. I think we can find more players like them, says Stank. I hope so. It's not always about how much you spend, but we certainly do need to bring players in. Do we know why Casemiro and Sesko left out? Both got a bit of a knock, Mike. Should both be back next week. Playing bad but winning. It works for Arsenal, says James. And I really can't... Yeah, mate. You know when people say Arsenal play bad? They ain't playing like this. Don't try and pretend we're Arsenal. Like, Arsenal can be frustratingly boring to watch, but they're defensively well organised. They don't give chances up. And, you know, they can control the ball. I really can't stand Ahmad this season. Horrendous. Refusing to pass and can't remember the last time he put a cross in the box, says Logan. There is no structure, especially in the midfield and up front. Martinez off and Heaven on, says Tony. Megas says Zirkzee is rubbish. And Mandolin says Mainu was on a milk carton that half. He's gone missing. Inconsistent. Probably our worst half under Carrick, says Alex. And I thought we were playing PSG, Mark. Lost control today on the pitch. Abysmal, says Dung. Thank you very much. Kyle says there's so much hype around potential new signings, Mark, but does Carrick have the experience to manage them? And look, I think for me, when you look at that, it's just this consistent hovering around 45 to 50% possession every bloody game. That's not, you can do it once, but it's every game. It's a style of play. It's hard work because we just don't have the ball. Who's the better manager, Carrick or Ollie, says CJ? I think they're very similar. It's pronounced Chouamini. Great. Really don't care, Devils, but thank you very much. You say we need a world-class manager, but Ten Hag and Amrin were both considered world-class. RJS, mate, you need to learn a little bit about football. I don't think anybody... No, I'm sorry. That's a terrible take. So you're saying we don't need a world-class manager because we had a world-class manager in Ten Hag and Amrin. They weren't considered world-class at all. I've never heard anybody say that Ruben Amorim and Ten Hag was world-class when we got them. They were hipsters. They were up-and-coming managers. They weren't world-class. They weren't world-class. Apologies for the technical difficulties today. If you have any problems, just refresh the stream. I think that seems to sort it out. I don't know what it is. Hipsters, says Tom. When I say hipsters, like they were. For me, a hipster is somebody that's like a man of the moment. And I think Ten Hag, because of what he did at Ajax, and Amrin, what he'd done at Sporting, they were managers of the moment that everyone was talking about. Up and coming managers with decent CVs, but ready to take the next step. Almost like a 19-year-old that's done really well at Brighton. World class would be a 26-year-old who's leaving Real Madrid. With Champions League next season, we need some good bench players because we can't just go with these players, says Vandit. And would you say Bruno is the best midfielder in the world because he doesn't play that many matches? Says Rohan. He plays a lot of games. Is this something to do with Bruno getting Player of the Year and not Rice by any chance because he played a few more games? Boring. ZTK says Man United are 7th on the expected points table since Carrick arrived. They've got 32 points, so they've got 9.2 points more than they should have. And in the long run, expected points gets balanced, which means we should expect United to drop more points than they should in the near future. I didn't know that. I mean, it's very interesting. I'm not massively into stats at a granular level, but to your stats test, the eye test to me is this is not sustainable. It's just not. I believe we're seeing the summer midfield plan this game. Club views Mainu as Casemiro replacement. Well, we're fucked if they do, Wendell. And K-Stone says, Arsenal, City, Liverpool, Chelsea, Villa all drop points against Sunderland this season. This midfield isn't going to dominate this team. Smash and grab, says K-Stone. And Liam says, is Luke Shaw okay? He's put 2 crosses in. He's probably realised he's got to try desperate things to get in the World Cup squad. He's probably trying it all now. Ace says, you have to refresh YouTube if he's muted for you. Work for me. Yeah, I don't know what that's all about. If you lose the audio when the stream crashes, just refresh the stream. It's a weird one. Thank you for all your super chats, by the way. I think I've caught up on those. I can understand this Carrick in we need quality, says Caleb. I can't understand it, he says. Kay Miller says, Mount is an interesting footballer. He's the type of player you invite to Sunday League and people aren't that impressed. Doesn't have any particular skill that makes him stand out. Runs around a lot, though. Thank you, Kay Miller. Carrick should have started Martinez and Zirkzee. Should have not started Martinez and Zirkzee. I'm glad he started Zirkzee Artin, though, because we do need to experiment. We do need to... there's been talk of keeping Zirkzee because he likes it at Man United. Now, if you don't play him here and he does badly, no one's going to want to keep him. If you play him here and he does well, people will want to keep him. So, I think it's important that you do get a look at these players. Zirkzee will get sold for a packet of Watsits, says Eunice. And I wouldn't have Carrick as manager. The performances have been very basic. I would go for Silva or the current German manager. Nagelsmann, yeah, that's where I'd go, Midri, yeah. I'm just going to start the timer for you. Second half's up and running. With Champions League next season, we need some good done that one. Thanks. Would you rather Carrick get the job when we bring in Tchouaméni? Here we go. Here we go with the stupid hypotheticals. Sorry, Edgar. I'm being moody about people trying to make me say I want Carrick. Would you rather Carrick and get Tchouaméni or Nagelsmann gets the job and McTominay? Yeah, okay, I'm going for Nagelsmann. Edgar, there you go. You didn't think I'd say that, did you? What a terrible audition from Zirkzee, says Marlowe. And Carrick should not have done that one. Thank you. Okay, right, we're back. Let's see what this half brings. Remember, Fulham against Bournemouth is still got a whole second half to go, and it's 10 against 10. Both have had a man sent off. Brighton 2-0 up against Wolves, scored 2 goals in the first few minutes. They are in 6th place at the moment. Irfan says, you said it once, an interim will do whatever needed to get the job. We won't really know what Carrick would look like till next year if he gets the job, and he could be worse. Yeah, I don't think Carrick will get the job and go, right, I'm going to play Klopp ball. I think Carrick, speaking to Middlesbrough fans, they've said they don't see a massive amount of difference in the way that United play compared to how he did at Middlesbrough. So I don't think we'll see a lot of stylistic change from Carrick next season. I think we will still be playing pretty much the same way that we are, but with obviously some different players. Dublin Jackal says, just tuned in from LA. Is there a notable drop-off with Casemiro and Sesko out, or same old? I think obviously Casemiro is better than Mount, and Zirkzee is better than Sesko. But there's still another 9 players out there. 83% of you would sell Mason Mount, by the way. We'll close that poll off. Caleb says, is Maresca available? Well, so it's funny how nobody actually mentions Maresca, because if Pep stays, then Maresca's available, isn't he? I mean, I would take Maresca over Carrick, of course I would, but he doesn't get mentioned. So I presume he's just I don't know. I know we are at the beach, but why isn't Carrick using this as an opportunity to implement his style of play and use the players that are in his plans, says Rajaf. It's a good point. It's one I'd like to revisit at full time. I'll take a note of that, because it was something I said at the start of the game. Like, you're in the Champions League now, so why don't you show a different brand of football? Rose says, given that Carrick's lightly nailed on, do you have any faith in his ability to attract top-class players, or are we stuck with top-class coaches, or are we stuck with Evans and co? I think that I don't know whether he can attract top-class coaches. I mean, it's Manchester United at the end of the day, but I think that he won't replace them anyway. I think Michael Carrick's a very loyal person. When Ollie got the sack, he was like, I'll be the interim and then I'm going to go. He never wanted to be put forward for the job. So he's a loyal person, Carrick. And I think he'll be loyal to people like Steve Holland and everybody else. Apparently I misspoke. It does sometimes happen. I don't know what I misspoke about, so if someone tells me, I can give you some clarity. So yeah, I think he will keep Steve Holland and Johnny Evans and Jonathan Woodgate. Would you take the Inter manager, says Theo? No, I don't think we need to be taking managers from Italy or Portugal or La Liga. I'm not saying there's not good managers there, but I think the viable managers are people like Nagelsmann and Iriola. I still think Emery could be got, but we won't do it. Little bit better from United this second half. Obviously, Carrick's had a few words. Luke Shaw just put another cross in. That's 3. That's more than he's done all season. I know we are at the beach, but I've done that from Rajaf. Oh, God, it's frozen again. Apologies for this. Please do subscribe to the channel, by the way. Bottom right-hand corner. We've got match reaction straight after this, where we can do our player ratings. Sunderland not as intense in the second half. United definitely started the second half on the front foot. So let's see if we can get a better second half. You know, it can be a game of 2 halves, as we know. And United seem to have come out the traps a little bit better. Couldn't be much worse. Why do you think Ahmad's dropped off this season, says Daryl? I've got absolutely no idea. I don't know. I like Ahmad, but I've got no idea. Look, Mbeumo has dropped off since Carrick came in. You could argue that Cunha has, although he has still scored goals. With Cunha, it's really easy. He's being played out of position, but Ahmad's actually in position. Like, right wing is his position, isn't it? So I don't really know. I really don't. Ahmad had a chance there. He should have had a shot. That is exactly what Kalfas says. Ahmad should have shot. He tried to square it. He was in from the angle and on the left foot. He should have done it. Lack of confidence, maybe, says George. Marlowe says, Cunha's decision-making worries me. Carrick's being loyal to them. It will be to our detriment, says LJ. Chris Dingley, thanks for your super chat. I'm actually surprised that Pratwell referees decently this match. Hope you're well, Mark, says Slav. And what's your take on David Attenborough's 100th birthday? I'm dead against it, Real Starfish. I think it's a disgrace. I think it's fantastic. And he looks good for 100, doesn't he, as well? If Mason Mount doesn't get booked now, I mean, he's done about 3 bad tackles in the first half and he's just done another one. How many chances are... how many chances are we going to waste, says Little Fat Dosser. Ahmad never actually proved himself as a right winger, says Marble. Yeah, Mount's been booked. Got to be careful then. Mason Mount out of position, playing in the Casemiro role. At least he's doing the Casemiro role. The yellow card. Although I don't think Casemiro's had as many yellow cards as people think recently. I hope you're well. Have you seen the tweet of players we have signed with Champions League football versus without? Interesting results, says Pav. No, tell us. Don't know what that's all about. Ahmad was best as a wing-back, linking up with Mbuemo, says Notorious. And Mazraoui out showing he's our best full-back defensively. Would love to see him go forward more and put some crosses in, says Joel. Do you think some of the players lack confidence, says Ben? Not really. Sunderland having the first attack of the half. Ahmad played for Sunderland alone, don't forget, as well, says Mohammed. What's going on in the other games? It's still 0-0 between 10-man Fulham and 10-man Bournemouth, and it's still 2-0 to Brighton against Wolves at home. So they're the other 2 games going on at the moment. Remember, if you want to tune in to Leipzig against St. Pauli, there's only a few minutes left there, and St. Pauli in the bottom 2 are losing 2-0 to Leipzig. Live footage of that game on That's Football. The goal scorers, Schlager and Orban. Looking like St. Pauli could be heading down, to be honest. Stuttgart 3-1 up. Still a watch. Mount is useless. Get him out, says Nevsky. Mount never looks serious. Get him out, says Marlowe. When was the last time... Yeah, Reggie, I'm not doing stuff about breath, but I'll answer this. Do you think Arsenal will win the Champions League? I think PSG will win the Champions League, but I think it'll be a lot closer than people think. I think a lot of people are disrespecting Arsenal. And I think they, you know, with their defence, they've always got a chance. Watching this and also watching the Stockport game as well, says CJ. Rossi says, do you think Wilcox and co watch this and see what we see? No, I genuinely don't. They probably go, wow, it's not bad. Nick a winner. What's on the bench for United? Well, we've got Dorgu. We've got Dorgu, Delo, Fletcher, Heaven, Malacia, Embuemo, Yoro. We've really only got Dorgu and Embuemo who can come on in the attack. We've got nothing in the midfield. So, yeah, we don't have a lot of options at all. St. Pauli have just got one back. If you went over to That's Football, you will have seen a goal, and it's a grandstand finish there now. 2-1, St. Pauli trying to stay up against Leipzig. Live footage on That's Football of that game. Nothing against Ahmad. He's good in his day and may... Oh, it's booked. Zirkzee's been booked now as well. I don't really know what Zirkzee's done to get booked, but there we go. Nothing against Ahmad, says Ashish. He's good in his day and may do well at a smaller club, but we need players who are consistent week in and week out. Not enough. We should be competing with the likes of Real Madrid, City and Barcelona for transfers. 100 million's too much for a midfielder. For us is an embarrassment. Linios out, says Chris. Kenneth says, looking at this squad right now with no additions, where would you see them finishing next season? Oh my God. I mean, with Casemiro leaving and sticking with this squad, which we won't, you know, we will buy players, but this team with no Casemiro and only Sesko to come back, fucking hell, we could be mid-table. I mean, you might scam your way to 5th, but corner to Sunderland. Just going to put an order in for a cup of tea. So we had 15 minutes of the second half already. Zirkzee is a great player, but we don't know how to use him, says Jeremy. He's not a striker, is he? I do agree with you, Jeremy. There's a lot of people who get on the back of Zirkzee, but he's not a striker. In the traditional sense, I just don't feel he's a striker. It's another corner to Sunderland. I actually, you know, look, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'm not jinxing it. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I don't think Sunderland will score against us, which means we'd have to do a 0-0. And I always back United to find a moment. When you've got people like Bruno Fernandes in the team or Casemiro, or not Casemiro, Cunha, I always think there will be a big chance for United. I always fancy us to score. So I actually do think we will win this game, but it's probably more to do with the fact that Sunderland are very wasteful. Be interested to see what we do off the bench, though. I don't know what Sunderland's bench likes either. United keep the ball and play for more than 5 seconds, says Aha. Why do Man United listen to their players? You don't hear Madrid players' opinions on managers. We need an experienced coach, says Zub. Why has Mazraoui got gloves on, says John. It's very cold in Sunderland and it's raining. Can Carrick change this with subs, says Marlowe. That's what I was sort of thinking. You know, you've got people like Embuemo, Dorgu, could make a bit of a difference. Darryl says, with Champions League settled and the senior players looking unmotivated, would you play some of the kids for the rest of the season? It's difficult though, isn't it? Because if you play kids and then they don't play well, people say they're shit. Look, let's see what happens. We've got Forest at home next week. I think that will be... That should be a win. We've got Brighton last game, which I think will be quite tough. And it might be because players are just thinking about World Cups and, you know, not getting injured. I don't know. The light switch is I don't even know if the light switch has gone off. You know, has the light switch gone off? Because have we actually been playing much better than this? You know, this is, in my opinion, I don't think the light switch has gone off. I think we've been playing like this for months. I think this is how we play. People are saying, oh, it's a light switch. I don't necessarily think it is. Another big save from Le Mans, by the way. That's 2. That's what I mean about Sunderland. Look at the way he spins away from Maguire as well. Too easy. Just that needs to be spoken about. This is a guy that we've kept for another year that he just hasn't got the pace. There's somebody saying that Martinez might have punched somebody here. I don't know. I don't know that it's going to get reviewed like that, but I think it's okay. I think Dorgu's coming on. Yeah, they don't seem to have made much of a deal of it, to be fair, but he did punch him. Says a lot of people saying he did punch him. It was cleared as a red card. He's a bit of a hothead, Martinez. I mean, I love Martinez, but he is a bit of a hothead. Playing like a team who is on holiday already, says Irfan. Cunha's going to go up front, and Dorgu's going to go on the left, and Zirkzee's going to come off. I think that might be the end of Zirkzee. I know he loves it at Manchester United, but being harsh, I don't think I love the idea of having him as the backup striker. Ryle says, has the light switch ever even been purchased from B&Q? Irfan, thank you very much. GB says, we always play down to the competition. I think that that's the whole point of we can beat anybody on our day. Because that means that you basically play to the competition, don't you? I think that's the whole point of being able to beat anybody on your day, is that you play to the competition. So if you're playing top of the league, you play to that level. If you're playing bottom of the league, you play to that level. Do you think Martinez should have been sent off? I think it's one of those where if somebody does that to your player, you're like, why am I not getting a penalty? And then if your player does it, you sort of go, come on, get on with it. It's rugby. That's a good biscuit. So we've had 66 minutes. Pretty poor from United. But a win is a win. Are we worried about Bruno's assist record? No, because I think if we're going to score, it's probably going to be from Bruno, isn't it? Bournemouth are winning 1-0. Up to 55 points. Rayan, 53rd minute. 10 against 10 there at Craven Cottage. Martinez has been training with Tchouameni during his suspension, says it's CJR. I'm just having a look if they've said anything on social media about it. How is Lisandro Martinez able to punch players and get away with it? He just punched Robbie in the face. I'm just looking at it here on... wow, I mean, he sort of goes out of his way to lamp him, really, doesn't he? I mean, his hand is in a totally unnatural position. I think he... I mean, look, there's only one camera angle, but he sort of does throw his hand at him. There's an account on Twitter called @AidenVTVV that's put it out. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Look, it's not been given, has it? Can I get a biscuit, Mark? It was a very good biscuit, and if I could virtually give you a biscuit, I would give you all a biscuit. But it's the tea. This team can also lose to any team on any given day. That's exactly it, God hand. Exactly. Damn Mount is so bad, says Stig. Carrick hasn't bought any players. Same thing we said for Amrim, says Sweet Tea. One substitution. Carrick exposes himself, says Marlowe. Martinez been training with Tchouameni, done that one. Thank you very much. Do you think United will go for Kane again? Says love, hate games. No, we won't go for Kane again. We need Premier League proven coaches, and by Premier League proven players, Areola is Premier League proven, great style of play, knows the Prem well. I think he's the one, says Mood Maniac. Bruno's been an embarrassment today, says Marlowe. It's not always about winning. We need to play good football, says Ria. And spare a thought for the haircut guy. He probably thought the way United had won their last three, Sunderland away, Forest at home, I'm getting a haircut. And 20 minutes for Man United to find a winner. Could still do it. Ahmad needs to be more direct, attack slow, and breaks down every time it goes out to him, says James. Would you take Bournemouth's Rayan at United, says Toby? I think I'd take a lot of players from Bournemouth, to be honest with you. Hi Mark, how's things? Hope you're well. Other than this match being boring, what's your thoughts on United having a strong summer transfer window, says PJ? Sunderland just hit the post. We actually deserve to win this game. We actually deserve to lose this game. So, Le Mans has made two fantastic one-on-one saves. They've hit the post as well. We're definitely winning this game, aren't we? We're definitely going to win it. You can just tell. Do you like... Because they've had three massive chances and not scored. We've not really had our big chance yet. Do you like Silva from Fulham? I rate him a lot. I like the way they play, Max. I do like the way they play. Obviously, they're losing at the moment. But, Yeah, I think he's a good coach. Ahmad is very lightweight, says Stig. 0 shots on target is crazy, says Marlowe. Thank you very much for your super chats, by the way. Please do subscribe to the channel, bottom right-hand corner. I don't know what we're doing for subscribers, actually, but don't forget, we're live every night at 8 o'clock, morning as well at 10 o'clock. We've got the match reaction after this, where you can do your player ratings. I'm sure you're very much looking forward to giving your honest assessment on these players. We are 20 subscribers away from 263,000, so please do subscribe. Sunderland are on the attack again. And Maguire will clear that. Another free kick to Sunderland. How many of these players are playing in first gear to avoid injury for the World Cup, says Irfan? I don't think, but I honestly, there will be people who will come out. There will be people who come out and go, oh, well, you know, we've qualified for the Champions League. It doesn't even matter, right? But I don't see any difference. I don't see any difference in this performance from what I've seen against Fulham, Villa, Liverpool, Chelsea. People forget we were shit against Chelsea. Like, we were really shit against Chelsea. They hit the bar twice. They dominated us. So I don't think it's about... I'm sure people will come out and say, well, you know, we've already got Champions League. It doesn't matter. But Ahmad's coming off for Mbuemo. But we've been playing like this for ages. This is not about taking your foot off the pedal or turning the light off. And also, flip it this way. The football's not been great. You've had some great results. Now the pressure's off. Go and play some good football then. Player ratings, I think, is in the video description. Yes, it is. It's in the video description. I'll get it for you. Mark every player out of 10, 6 being the average. Star for your man of the match. You can sign up for there. Oh, Luke Shaw's hurt his leg. He'll be all right for next week. He's made of steel now, Luke. I'll tell you what's more interesting than this game. Look at the top 10. Bournemouth 55, Brighton 53. I mean, they could take Villa out the top completely, couldn't they, if they carry on? Late Man United winner. I've been saying it for ages. I can see United winning. Sam says Luke Shaw would run through walls for England. I don't think he's injured anyway. He's still on the pitch, so. Thank you everybody who's tuned in, by the way. So JMC says fixed game. Why would it be a fixed game? Sunderland need to win to try and get into Europe. Carrick's trying to win. Carrick's trying to get a job at United and convince those of us who don't think he's the right guy he is the right guy. So I don't see why it favours either team to play out a 0-0. Zero intensity. What am I watching? The players are crap, and if we get Luis Enrique, it will look the same. He can't do miracles, says Stig. Body language is terrible, says Slazy. We're struggling against a team that was beaten 5-0 at home by Forest last time out. That is true, Ashy. Jack says, how are we playing? Only just joined. Could somebody in the chat just give Jack a summary of this first 77 minutes of the game? Jonathan says, Carrick isn't the man for the job, but those players should be embarrassed with their performances. Charlie says, Carrick isn't even hiding the fact he's still playing for the job. I would love to see Lacey, Heaven, Yorro, even Fletcher today. Makes sense wearing yellow and playing like Wolves, says Pengas. Elias says, do you think Lacey should start over Ahmad? No, I think bloody Mbeumo should start over Ahmad. If Sunderland had better players, we'd be battered, says Aditya. Well, we've not had a shot on target. They've had 4. They should have won the game. Sunderland should have won the game. Sido says, this is an eye-opener for people who don't rate Sesko. Well, it's an eye-opener for the fact that we need to buy a striker. Absolutely. Emily Derry says, how the hell has he not taken Mount off? He's on a yellow and the midfield is getting played through like water through a sieve. I like it, Emily. Husband says, my disabled nan's better than this lot. And it's scary how bad we are without Casemiro next season, without any decent midfield signings, and losing Bruno a season after. There'll be a collapse, says Sam. Would you take Bilal Sayoud and Gondo at United? I mean, I'm very happy with my players at Gold Devils, but I think they would all admit that this is a huge step up Premier League football. However bad you think United have been today, they are the elite of British football. Anyone still think we should hire Carrick, says Marlowe? Oh, we'll win a game. We'll win it. We'll win in a minute, mate. We'll win it in a minute. We'll win it in the last 10 with a moment and everyone will just forget the boredom. Why? So we've qualified for Champions League, says Eggy. Thank you very much. Did you see Schmeichel say United should go for Xhaka, says Daryl. And Overlord says, if Carrick cares for this club, he will not take the job. He will leave at the end of the season. He is clueless and can't manage big names. Philip says he's done a couple of super chats that haven't been read out. Mate, I tried to read them all out, but I always say on a watch along, like with, there's a match going on. There's a lot being talked about, and sometimes some do slip through. I'm certainly not sitting here going, oh, Philip, let me not read your super chats out. I mean, ultimately, you've probably had more time than anybody now, but I don't sit here and go, I don't fancy reading that out. It's an accident, pal. I think the fact that we've only made 1 substitution is a bit poor. If so, and it shows a lack of Philip says again. I've seen that one again. Viking Crypto Warrior, struggling since Sir David Brailsford left, unmarginal gains. PJ says, other than the match being boring, what's your thoughts on United actually having a strong summer transfer window? I think I've read that one, haven't I? I mean, look, we need to have one. I think in many ways, and I'll put it in for the match reaction, the Casemiro thing is, was always going to be a problem that maybe we wouldn't have seen until next season. Well, we've seen it now. Philip again. Not sure if you missed my previous chat. I'm trying to find it, Philip. I mean, I'm just keep going through more of you saying you've missed it. Hi, Mark. Hope you're well. Random question. What brand of glasses are you wearing? I like them. I think this United will nick this in the 88th minute with a Bruno assist. Philip, it was worth waiting for. I actually do agree that we will probably win this game. Prada. The devil wears Prada. Gold Devils. See what I mean? I actually had a better pair of Prada glasses, but they got discontinued. But I sat on them. I think they're up here. Highlight of the half. Here they are. Yeah, I had these ones. They were slightly better because the red bit was longer compared to that. But I sat on them and they're no good. Yeah, Bournemouth could be getting a very good result. They're 1-0 up against Fulham with 12 minutes to go. Brighton are going to beat Wolves. Obviously, they're 2-0 up and Wolves are crap. That's where we are with that. It only takes a minute, girl, to fall in love. And Buemo. Lovely play by Bruno. Ball had gone out anyway. Like, to me, it doesn't really matter whether we win it. I don't want to lose or draw it. Nothing's going to change. It's 80, you know, if Man United score a goal from a Bruno assist, it won't shock me. I'll just go, oh, well, the same as the last 3 months. Shit performance, a moment of magic. It's not going to shock me. And this is what I keep saying. All these people keep telling me, you've got to give the job to Carrick. Look at the results. Look at the results. And I just go, but look at the performance. Look at the performance. Look at the performance. It's you know, everybody who says give it to Carrick, fine. I respect the results. I understand you have a preference on who the manager should be. But I have consistently said I'm watching these games and they're shit. They're really shit. The tactics, the subs. It's like, you know, we've all done a bit of coaching, I presume. And, you know, I know exactly what he's doing. He's standing on the touchline going, oh, I just hope Bruno does something for me in a minute. I hope Bruno does something for me in a minute. There's nothing about that performance that you go, we've not even defended well. The keeper's made 2 amazing saves and they've hit the post. We've not even defended well. No shots on target. Yeah. And there's no plan B, is there, as well? I think that's always, you know, you look at the tactical flexibility of somebody like Luis Enrique, who is probably one of the best in the world. But there's no tactical flexibility. It's not worked for 85 minutes and he's not done anything. And, you know, my interpretation of football is this. If Sunderland score a winner, you know, it's not the tactics that have stopped Sunderland from scoring, it's luck. So why did you not adapt when it was, you know, when they hit the post? If I'm a coach, I'm going, we're very lucky. Right, I need to change something. You know, when Le Mans makes that save 20 minutes ago, I'm going, we're very lucky. I need to change something. It's not changed anything. Nothing has changed. And as you say, this is not a great Sunderland team. I mean, they couldn't hit the ocean from a boat. They got stuffed by Forest. They haven't scored at home in the last 2 games. Yeah, if you want to do your player ratings, it's pinned in the live chat. Mark every player out of 10, 6 being the average. I mean, I think some of my player ratings might shock people, but I'm not going to change my mind. I know what I've seen. I know what I think. And regardless of the result, even if there is a late winner, which maybe there will be, I won't be changing on this. As a title, I don't think Bruno's got much chance of getting this player sent off, considering Martinez lamped Brobby and didn't get sent off. I don't think you can send him off when they didn't send Martinez off. Substitution, I don't think anything's going to happen. Emily Derry says, you don't build the history and aura that United have had on a performance like this. Moments FC and results isn't what United is about, so why should I or others put up with it for £80 minimum ticket? Come on, be fair. Mount in the midfield, says Tox. Our performance today can cure insomnia, says one and only. You realise Sunderland is more fitter than us, says King Ben. United have gone into holiday mode now. Champions League secured, says Tom. Outs matter as much as ins this window, says Aaron. Carrick is like Southgate in red. Shit but lucky, says Vulvan. Carrick outfit doesn't help his case, says Chris. And could Champions League game hurt us like Tottenham, says Elm. And Newcastle. Eggy says, how long till Mark talks about New York again? Well, I wouldn't have spoke about New York unless you told me to. Sack Carrick, says Jim. He's humiliating us by drawing. This is in an absolutely meaningless game. I think he's been sarcastic. Sesko in player ratings. No Zirkzee, says Sean. Okay, I'll sort that. Why is that not there? Just going quiet there. We nearly did exactly what I predicted will happen all game. There'll just be a moment for United and we win it, and we nearly did, but it wasn't on target. Went for a corner. Thank you very much for your super chats. It wasn't. I don't think it was on target anyway. It will be Zirkzee and not Sesko in the player ratings now. Four minutes added on. When did we last draw 0-0, says Marble. I'd be surprised if United draw 0-0. I always think we've got a goal. Brighton have scored a third. 3-0. That goal was scored by Minty. And Cunha just had a chance. And he's going to get booked for a dive. Another reason why Carrick shouldn't get the job. We need a left-back, centre-back, 3 midfielders, says Ami, and 1 attacker to cope with the extra fixtures next season. Probably more if they're outgoings. And I'll have fries with that as well. Chat is going absolutely mad at Cunha, saying that is absolutely horrific. Sell him. I haven't seen it. We've had a shot on target, though. I mean, I think Cunha's saved us with that. Let me just get this done. Yeah, do your play ratings. I think it's going to be very interesting. Got a few things to say. United got a corner, though. Could win it with a corner. Bruno assist. Harry Maguire. Carrick in the chat. I'd rather have count how many blades of grass is in my garden than that. And it finishes 0-0. There we go. Well, look, let's get over to the match reaction because there's, you know, I've got a lot of things I want to say about that, and I don't think it belongs on the watch along, to be honest with you. Get yourself over to the match reaction. I thought that was absolutely shit. And I think that, you know, you can file it under, it doesn't really matter because we're in the Champions League, but I would file it under, we're in the Champions League, go and express yourself and show us why we should give you the job. I think it's a pathetic performance. I think the tactics are shit again. But it's exactly how we've been playing for months. So, you know, is this what we want to sign up for next season? Some people do. Okay, let's talk about it on the match reaction and player rating show. I'll see you over there in a minute.